What's up, Nanner? Today's a Lost Day. I'm going to be reacting to Season 1, Episode 5 of Lost and Found. Well, I get it. It's a pun, Nanner. Lost and Found? Okay, maybe it wasn't that funny. It's a Sun and Jin episode. I really like these episodes because they're usually a social commentary on a different culture. The culture that's over there in Korea. This episode shows the difference between Sun and Jin. Sun being the highest part of society with power and fame, goes to expensive hotels and gets set up for marriages. Jin represents the low part. He's the doorman. He's a fisherman from the coast, but he's just trying to claw his way up into society. Sun, she's being ruled over by her father, and Jin's trying to escape from his past. First, I'm going to cover all the flashbacks from Sun and Jin's past just to keep it organized. There are two males in this episode. There's the bald guy who Sun got set up with, and then there's Jin. Bald guy is upper class. Bald guy says, yeah, I went into Russian medieval literature and I wound up in hotel management. How on earth did that happen? I'll tell you how it happened. Your family gave it to you because no one can get a job in Russian literature. You'll wind up in the gutter somewhere if you pursue Russian medieval literature as a career. Same thing with Sun and art history. They both did what they loved because they had the luxury of doing what they loved, and their family always said, yeah, go do whatever you want and do what you love, because their family knew in the back of their minds that if things went wrong, they could always just give them a job. Jin, on the other hand, he's a fisherman from the coast, and he wants to escape from that. He doesn't have any fallback. The only way for him to go is up. He's clawing his way up into society, and that's what I really like about Jin over the bald guy who runs the hotel. And the juxtaposition between Jin and this bald Korean guy is awesome, because it shows Jin is like a better person. Even though the bald guy may be charismatic, he has had success handed to him, rather than Jin, who has to search for it and go for it. When the bald guy says, can I tell you a secret, and Sun's like really into him and she wants to maybe even marry him or whatever, he says, can I tell you a secret? I'm going to go to America and marry a woman in America. And it's just, oh, shattered. That was a good moment, because if that moment hadn't happened, she never would have met Jin. And it's funny how the domino effect can happen. If he had not said that, and if Jin had not let that guy in, which was really nice, by the way, he does the right thing despite what people want him to do. He wouldn't have quit his job, Sun would have never left the hotel, and they never would have bumped into each other, and they never would have met.
Jin plus Sun, heart, forever and ever.
It's funny how everything is all tied together. Lost does a really good job of this, because they connect things so crystal clearly that anyone can follow it, and they're like,
it's funny how this leads to this, and then they wind up on the island with a bunch of people that they've met before, or whatever.
Moving on into the episode part, when Micheal goes and runs away, you don't respect Michael's intelligence by running off by himself and screaming in the middle of the jungle. When there are people out there who could kill him, you have to respect him as a father. When he goes off into the jungle, Jin makes it his priority to go and find Micheal, or help Micheal find Walt. And that's really honorable of Jin. Mr. Echo, who we'll learn a lot more about later, is also a really honorable man. He's one of my favorite characters in Lost. He's nobler than most people. He stands up for himself just like Jin. They have a lot in common. Like, when Mr. Echo said, "Stop, you can't do this," Jin just whacked him in the face, even though I would be afraid to do something like that if I was Jin, because Mr. Echo is pretty buff, to say the least. Jin knows what he's doing, and he shows people how it's done. Like when he was taking that little sea urchin and he's taking out bits of it and throwing it into the sea, and then all of a sudden he goes and throws the net out and catches like 4 fish. When Ana Lucia goes off on him, he's like, fish. And then there's Sun. He's attaching a lot of weight to an object, but the object may be the last thing she has of Jin, because she found the bottle and suspects the worst, and says that they're not okay, and She's just super worried and super angry. And then all of a sudden John comes along, which brings us to the quote of the day.
I used to get angry all the time and frustrated, but I'm not lost anymore. I stopped being lost the same way anything stops being lost. I stopped looking.
Which is kind of inaccurate, because John, he stopped looking for things that he wanted and rather looked for what was there. Overall, I like this episode. The culture difference makes a difference. If anyone else is watching this episode, you can see Daniel's reaction down below. You can like and subscribe and tell your friends and react. That's all I had to say for today, Nanner. Live together, die alone. See you later.